Can you confirm with News Nation that you're running for president?
Boy, that would be a nice confirmation, wouldn't it? There'd be a lot of people that would be very upset about that. But I think you're going to be very happy. I think people are going to be very happy at what I do. I was going to do something last night, actually, that would have made the place really happy. And so we're doing it a few days later. And I think people are going to be very happy, very impressed.
To your predecessor, who is about to launch another campaign. So how do you reassure them, if that is the reason for their questioning, that the former president will not return, or that his political movement, which is still very strong, will not once again take power in the United States?
Well, we just have to demonstrate that he will not take power.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
There's breaking news out of Palm Beach, Florida. Former President Trump says his Mar-a-Lago home there is being raided by the FBI.
For the first time ever, a former president of the United States has been indicted.
Former President Donald Trump indicted for a second time.
A federal grand jury indicted former President Donald Trump. It marks the third time the former president has been indicted.
Breaking news on former President Trump. He's been indicted for the fourth time in 5 months.
Breaking news, this is an image that will be in the history books. This is the mugshot of the 45th President of the United States.
The optics of this is working to his advantage. Look.
Breaking news from Colorado, where the state Supreme Court has just disqualified former President Donald Trump.
Donald Trump found guilty on all 34 felony counts.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Take a look at what happened.
The next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
I proudly accept your nomination for president of the United States.
Let Trumpomania run wild, brother!
So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
Investigation underway after the second assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
As I was saying,
as you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA.
Get in there.
Let's go! I want to be a whale psychiatrist. I'm going for a job right now at McDonald's. I really wanted to do this all my life. I've now worked for 15 minutes more than Kamala.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
Here are our first projections. There, NBC News projects that Donald Trump has won the presidential election in Kentucky, Indiana. In West Virginia, Donald Trump is the winner. Florida, Tennessee, Missouri, Alabama, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Arkansas, Texas, North Dakota, South Dakota. NBC News also projects a winner in the Wyoming presidential race, Mississippi, Louisiana, Ohio, Kansas, Utah, Montana, Iowa, the state of Nebraska in the presidential contest, Idaho. The first swing state is North Carolina, going to Donald Trump. Donald Trump has prevailed in the presidential race in Georgia. Pennsylvania. NBC now projects he is the winner of Michigan and its 15 electoral votes.
Donald Trump is the winner in Alaska, picking up 3 more electoral votes.
Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin. He is the winner of this race and will return to the White House as this country's 47th president.
Hey, look what happened. Is this crazy?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into CobraCast 199. I am your host, Jeremy Prime, Mage of the 199, and it's a Friday. It's Wrestlemania weekend, and there's rumors that one President Trump may make an appearance at Wrestlemania this weekend. Those are the rumors right now. I will tell you all about them. It will be a massive meltdown if President Trump shows up to WrestleMania. I still don't believe he's going to show up, but the rumors are that he's going to show up, and it's all because of something Pat McAfee said today live during his show. So we're going to have to see, but we are covering all of it over on our Geeks Gamers Locals, covering WrestleMania all weekend. Hopefully you guys can hear me, because my audio, I dialed it back for Friday Night Tights because it was too loud. Let me make sure my settings are good. Testing. Let's see here. Audio good. That might be better. Is that better? Test. Okay. Should be good now. I had to turn it back up. So let me know. But yes, it's going to be a crazy weekend for sure. And dude, if Trump shows up, I'm gonna you guys have no idea. So I made a video yesterday on Geeks and Gamers with Roman Reigns, who's probably the biggest name in WWE. And he did an interview with Vanity Fair, and he made the comments that he supports President Trump. And the gender confused weirdos have been losing their minds over this, because they were all fans of Roman Reigns. And then they had to denounce Roman Reigns when they found out that he supports President Trump. So they were crying. They were saying it was their personal 9/11. They were just, the meltdown was glorious. I covered it over on Geeks and Gamers. And I mean, that adds to the list of, first of all, Donald Trump is a member of the WWE Hall of Fame, 6'3", 224 pounds. He could be the champion right now, but he's making America great again. He's friends with the McMahon family. Triple H is friends with him. Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, Kane is obviously a politician and friends with Donald Trump. And now Roman Reigns has said that he is supporting. So what I'm hoping that they basically turn the WWE into the UFC. That would be my favorite thing ever if they do that. So we'll talk about that here in just a bit. Also, I'm wearing my Mario hoodie because I made a video yesterday on Geeks and Gamers, and somebody commented and they said, I can't take you seriously if you're wearing a Mario hoodie. So I said, okay, I'll fucking keep wearing it. So I'll just keep wearing it. I don't give a shit. I don't care if you're that mentally weak where you need me to wear whatever fucking shirt that you want me to wear. So I'll just wear the Mario hoodie now. And Brock, with 50 gifted memberships to start the party off. Let's fucking go. Brock in the house. 50 gifted memberships. Swig of water for the working man. There we go, baby. Thank you. Don't forget to hydrate. As Brock always says, hydrate. Comics Dad becomes a new member as well. What's up, Comics Dad? Good to see you here, brother. Thank you, Brock. 50 freaking gifted memberships before the show even starts. AOE2 Freak says, hey, Jeremy. Hail, Jeremy in chat. I never liked wrestling, but for some reason, I enjoy your show like wrestling people. Hey, I hear you, man. Wrestling is pure entertainment. I don't think the product is as good as it used to be, as someone that's watched it for a long time. But, we're not going to spend too much time on wrestling here on CobraCast, but might as well just kind of show you what the story is right now. Because this is the story right here. Boom. If I could share my screen, there we go. So here's the story. Donald Trump will make an appearance at WrestleMania. He may have an in-ring role during one of the matches. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. There's no way Trump is going to have an in-ring role. There's no freaking way. All right. Dude, this is a hell of a way to sell WrestleMania. Okay. This is a hell of a way. So again, let me repeat. Geeks and Gamers Locals. You can watch it with us. If you're interested, come on over there. We're going to be live Saturday and Sunday over there. Supporters will be able to watch WrestleMania watch party with us. So I don't know, man. So this is right here. The reports about Trump visiting Las Vegas for WrestleMania weekend appear to have been sparked by a comment from the Pat McAfee show. But a local law enforcement source says there are currently no plans for enhanced security for a presidential visit. Here's what Pat McAfee said.
The tribal commander-in-chief has the Ulafala, I believe, in Washington, D.C. That thing, I think, is on a private plane heading over here to Las Vegas. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen.
You see, so when Pat McAfee said that, he acted like, oh, shit, I wasn't supposed to say that. You know what I mean?
Tribal commander-in-chief has the Ulafala, I believe, in Washington, D.C. That thing, I think, is on a private plane heading over here to Las Vegas. Joining us now.
Now, a little backstory to that is, so when this whole thing happened yesterday, with let me see if I can find it. When this whole thing happened with Roman Reigns yesterday, these people were they were freaking the fuck out. Okay, so the Ulafala, the whole thing with the tribal chief and all of that. So hours after it was reported that Roman Reigns was a Trump supporter, Donald Trump gets presented with the Ulafala hours after Roman Reigns' article releases. This is President Trump, dude. This dude.
Signifies royalty in our culture.
So does that mean I'm royalty?
You are royalty. You are royalty. Let's go. You just got blessed. Thank you so much.
Trump is a freaking master troll, dude. And of course, this is a wrestling account right here. This guy right here covers wrestling. So he's the one that tweeted this out. Like, dude, man, this has nothing to do with Roman. They are freaking out, man. Like, these people, the disrespect is real. It's so good, man. Oh, so we'll see what happens. But what I do know is it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be entertaining. We got John freaking Murdoch for 50. So sent you a super chat on FNT, but you had to leave. Glad you did a CobraCast tonight. I feel like I took my shot and missed miserably. Hail the 199. Not true, John. You sent a $50 super chat on Friday Night Tights. I saw it come through, and you said you said something to the effect of, because Jeremy's here, hail Friday Night Tights, hail the 199. I did see your super chat, John Murdoch. Thank you, sir. I watched the chat, man. The chat was cracking me up during Friday Night Tights tonight, man. I was in tears. The chat was like laughing at Chris Gore, because Chris Gore had his sunglasses on and he basically looked like he was passed out. And the chat was amazing. So thank you. And thank you, John Murdoch. Appreciate you, brother. Charlie Thompson says, just to let you know, Undertaker and Cody Rhodes just came to Fortnite Skins. Are we getting a gaming stream coming back? Yeah, I have. I've played a little bit of Fortnite, just off not like streaming it, but yeah, I plan on getting back on the gaming streams. Hopefully, I would do it this weekend if I wasn't covering WrestleMania this weekend. Now, that's not to say maybe tomorrow night after WrestleMania, we could run some Fortnite. I'll see, but yes, 100%. I want to get back on to some gaming streams, playing Fortnite and Black Ops 6. So that is certainly the plan. Chad Layton for 10 says, holy crap, I finally made it to a live show. Only had to take the day off. LOL, worth it. Happy Friday to one and all. Thank you, Chad Layton. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Let me see. DL says, question. Do we get to refer to Snape as the HNIC now? Man, the whole Snape thing is absolutely like that we're going to be eating good over on Geeks and Gamers as we get closer to that one. We're going to be eating good. That's all I can say about that one. So, gaming channel dead. Sad, says Dirk Mathers. It is dead. I haven't streamed on that channel since January. Holy shit, has it really been since January? Black Snape moan. Absolutely. Tommy says Jeremy reimburses all super chats with a bonus. Trust me, I make a good amount of money off this fig. Hey, go for it. Has it really been since January? Holy shit. All right. I mean, listen, I'm a smart businessman. You know, CobraCast makes more money than the gaming streams. That's just the reality of the situation, okay? I'm a smart businessman. Little Orphan Funkhauser says, no meetup stream this year. What the fuck is Beardo good for? No, I told him it was my call. I basically told Beardo, instead of worrying about streaming, I wanted him to just make sure he, got time to meet and shake hands with everybody. As much as I felt like we would probably get a lot of super chats on a stream and it would have been good for a lot of people, and I wanted to, since I wasn't there and we were really short-handed from a Geeks and Gamers standpoint, I wanted to make sure that the people that were there got a good experience with the few G&G people that were there. So instead of us putting the resources into, streaming and I wanted Beer to be able to meet as many people as he could, and have Steph and Ryan and everybody else. These people spend a lot of money to come to these events, and I obviously couldn't because of family obligations. And so I do apologize that I couldn't be there. And but yeah, it's just I have too much on my plate. I couldn't get away. So I hope everybody had fun, though. I hope everybody had fun. Indy I says Isaac is gay. Heroic Kitten says, imagine if Trump does a tag team match with Secret Service. Giggles and Bits says, did you see the Werner Herzog clip where he gushes about WWE? He loves it. I hope it's not AI, LOL. Probably AI. Gonna go out on a limb and say that. Gerald Armstrong says, WWE is doing the Hall of Fame ceremony at 1 a.m. Eastern. This is some crazy shit. It is weird times for that one right there. Okay, we have a video to check out from your guys' favorite person. You guys ready? But it's an interesting discussion that he's having. We're talking about Stephen A. Smith, but guess who Stephen A. Smith is interviewing? He's interviewing Steve Bannon. We got to listen to it. It's Steve Bannon. I got to hear what Steve Bannon has to say to Stephen A. Smith.
Host of the Conservative War Room podcast. He is also a man that has been on the record on several occasions endorsing circumventing the 22nd Amendment for Donald Trump to receive a third term in office, okay? That is why I wanted to talk to my next guest. Mr. Steve Bannon is on the show with yours truly. How are you, sir? How's everything? Thank you for being on.
Doing fine, Stephen A. Thanks for having me. Honored.
Now, explain to me, Steve Bannon, how you can, with a straight face, sit back and say Donald Trump is going to be inaugurated as the president of the United States in January of 2029. He's going to win the election in 2028 when the 22nd Amendment clearly states no one shall serve more than 2 terms. Could you talk about that, please?
I mean, maybe you're a little scared, Stephen A. I mean, because I'm sure you don't want to go up against the Don. So maybe Stephen A. is a little bit scared of that. Listen. I 100% believe that Trump intends to run for a third term. I absolutely believe it.
The Constitution says, Stephen, that on President Trump's Article 2 powers, that he's chief executive officer of the U.S. government. He's commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He's chief law enforcement officer of the United States government, chief magistrate. And I think, as I count coming on your show today, I think there's 150 lawsuits in federal court by various organizations affiliated with the Democratic Party. The NGOs are actually members of the Democratic Party suing President Trump on his Article 2 powers that are clearly delineated in the Constitution. So the Constitution is open for interpretation. I have never said, and the people I'm working with have never said, we're trying to amend the Constitution. We think that there are a number of legal workarounds of that, and we're working on that, and we'll probably present it to the public sometime either right before the 22 midterms or shortly thereafter, when most people will be jumping in the race for the 2028 nominations for their parties. And so this is something I'm absolutely convinced of. And I tell folks, I said, look, when I first I'd known Trump for a couple of years, but when I first start watching him as a politician act, and really as early as May of 2014, when I saw him go to these cattle calls in Iowa and in New Hampshire. And I told people, I was running Breitbart at the time, and I told people, I said, that guy's going to win the Republican primary and he's going to be the next president of the United States. People laughed in my face, and he was polling at 0. In fact, he polled at 0 up for the next year, all the way up right before he ran. He was still in distant 7th or 8th place before he announced that day on January 2015, which would come up the 10-year anniversary. In 2021, when he had the second election stolen, he went back to Mar-a-Lago. The odds were along there. People laughed in my face.
I have no doubt that I don't want to say that Trump is behind this discussion with Bannon, but he certainly could shut it down if he wanted to. He would certainly pick up the phone and say, Steve, stop talking about this nonsense right now. But he clearly doesn't want that to happen because they're laying the framework for whatever it is they plan on doing. So while he's not speaking for President Trump, I don't think, clearly Trump has no problem with him putting this out there and continuing this discussion.
Fox News did not show him live for 2 years. So I tell folks, I say, folks, I have had Trump's back and been involved with people early on when the odds were so much longer than we have now of actually working through different alternatives to make sure he's on the ballot and he will be elected president of the United States. And on the 20th of January in the afternoon of 2029, President Trump will be in the White House as serving his winning his 4th election and serving his 3rd term.
I'm doing this for my sole enjoyment, this clip that I'm about to bring up, because I watch Bill Maher's show all the time, Real Time with Bill Maher. I loved seeing you on there last week. I love seeing what he had to say in the aftermath of his visit to the White House to meet with Trump. But this is you and him interacting with one another about this very subject. I'll ask my next question after I show this to you again. Take it away, guys.
Here it is, the Constitution. Can I read a passage to you? Amendment 22, no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And yet you keep talking about Trump's maybe you should have this. Here,
I'll get you to sign it backstage and underline. Look, President Trump didn't bring up running for a 3rd term. Myself and others brought up running for a 3rd term. President Trump is going to run for a 3rd term, and President Trump is going to be elected again on the afternoon of January 20th of 2029. He's going to be president of the United States.
Why did I bring that up, Steve Bannon? I'm going to tell you why. Because the key thing that I peeled from that was you saying that President Trump didn't say this. He didn't ask for this. You guys were the ones that initiated it. What is this fixation on him? I see J.D. Vance.
Yeah, I mean, I like how I do like how they suddenly do. Who said that? Insufficient funds. Wait, now they respect the Constitution? Yeah, exactly. Like the problem here is we got to be real about what's going on. Donald Trump was nearly killed last year in Butler, Pennsylvania. And then, what was it, a few months later, or a few weeks later, they tried it again. And I promise you there have been other attempts that we don't even know about that are not on record. So we're talking, what? Are we talking 5, 10 that we, that could be out there, even more? If Trump gets killed last year, do you know how different not only this country looks, but the entire world looks? Why? Because the Democrats have proven that they do not play by the rules. They're not interested in the rules. They're not interested in facts. They're not interested in reality. And they will make up whatever delusions they want to believe in, and they will force you to do it. Look at me right now. I am not a type of person that wants to self-censor anything I say. I don't like censoring it. I like to say whatever the hell I want to say. Just like most of you, whether I'm online or whether I'm in my day-to-day life. But I have to self-censor myself because of fucking weirdos that don't even know what fucking gender they are, because they've fucking just destroyed like any sense of reality that we have. So we have to pick safe words for these fucking retards. Thank goodness retard is back. Why do we have to do that? Why do I have to pick words to make sure that they don't upset you? I don't give a fuck about you. I don't care about your fucking pronouns. But I have to self-censor myself because of what the Democrats and the left have done to our society and our culture. And they've been doing this for decades. They've been building these foundations for decades. And if it wasn't for Donald Trump, Lord knows, I don't know where we would be right now, but it would be at a good place. Never in my life would you have ever convinced me that they would shut the entire world down for years over the flu. And they were successful at it. They did it. They pulled it off. It was the fucking flu. I'm not a medical expert. Again, this is the dumb bullshit I have to say because of the leftist narrative. I have to say that me sitting here in a fucking Mario hoodie with video games surrounding me, I'm not a fucking medical expert. Why do I have to say that? If you're too stupid to realize that I'm not a medical expert wearing a fucking Mario hoodie, I can't help you in life. But I have to make those qualifiers. Why? Because I have to appeal to stupid people because the left has said that I have to do that. It's absolutely insane. But this is the world that we're living in. And if there's no one else, like, I appreciate J.D. Vance. I really like J.D. Vance. And do I think J.D. Vance could be a great president? Absolutely. Donald Trump is a once-in-a-lifetime personality and individual. It's going to take someone like that to continue to build this foundation. That's the truth. So, I mean, I don't like opening Pandora's box. I don't like that if we're going to open this thing up of like, well, if Trump can run for more than 2 terms, what does that mean, you know, with Democrats? How are they going to do this? I get that. I really do. But if Trump doesn't stay in office, if Trump doesn't win again, I don't know what happens to this country. Look how quickly after Trump's first term, look how quickly look how quickly Barack Obama in his 3rd term. We're not supposed to say that that's Barack Obama's 3rd term, right? Everybody knows it was Barack Obama's 3rd term. 100% was Barack Obama's 3rd term. And look at how much damage they did in such a short period of time. What are we going to look like in 20, 30, 40, 50 years? Don't know, but it's something to think about.
The vice president of the United States. Last time I checked, he probably governed the same way Trump is governing. We see Marco Rubio as the Secretary of State, who's been a senator for quite some time. He knows what the hell he's doing. There's a plethora of other individuals within the GOP that could definitely fill those shoes. What's the fixation on Donald Trump, sir?
Stephen, look, there's a lot of good folks out there that could be president and do an okay job. But if an individual like Trump, let's be specific about this. When he had the election stolen from him in 2020 and went back to Mar-a-Lago, and he made that decision, those
Mr. Beautiful says, am I cute? No, you look like you look gay.
Those really dark days of January, February, March, he understood that if he was to come back and not just sit in Mar-a-Lago and buy more golf courses and get in the Open Rota in the United Kingdom, or get some of his courses in the PGA tournaments and the U.S. Open Rota here in the United States, and enjoy a big book deal and hang out with Melania and the family, he understood at the time that if he came back and came and ran for president again, not just the Republican establishment, but that the apparatus would try to put him in prison. The apparatus would try to bankrupt him.
You hear this? This is a key part right here. He's talking about with Trump. After 2020, Trump had to assess what he was going to put himself through. Like, you going through what he has gone through, I don't think we appreciate it enough. Like, it's really unbelievable how much they've thrown at this guy, and he just continues to stand above it all.
At the time that if he came back and came and ran for president again, not just the Republican establishment, but that the apparatus would try to put him in prison. The apparatus would try to bankrupt him. The apparatus would eventually try to assassinate him. He made it's the most courageous political move in the history of this country. If you take John Kennedy's Profiles in Courage, you read it and add it all up and triple it, That's 1/10 of the moral clarity and courage that President Trump had to say, I'm going to come back, because if I don't come back and do this and win and take the country back and take it back, get it back on the constitutional republic we should be, understanding what happened and then looking what happened in the 4 years, the country's finished. This is why President Trump, most countries don't have someone like Trump in their entire history. We've been very fortunate to have General Washington at the founding of the nation, President Lincoln at the rebirth of the nation, and now President Trump at the rejuvenation of this country. And that's why a man like that comes along every 100 years, and we got to get all the squeeze out of the lemon. We have to have this guy's back. We want him there as long as possible, and we're going to find legal methods to do it. And President Trump will be reelected and be back in the Oval Office.
Now, Steve Bannon, I'm not going to be some leftist constantly, just drilling in this point, but you do know everyone says, excuse me, the election wasn't stolen, that you lost fair and square in 2020. The inordinate amount of lawsuits that were thrown out there, even the courts dismissed it, etc. Yet guys like yourself and others continue to say the election was stolen when others would argue that the facts say otherwise. Do you ever think about letting that go, particularly now that the man is back in office as the 47th president, and to avoid spewing such rhetoric, knowing that it just serves to continue to divide the country? What about that notion?
That's 100% bullshit. It doesn't divide the country. We are more unified than we have been in a long time, because of President Trump and because of him standing tall. And as I said, go back and listen to what I said in the lead up to the 2024 election and through the primaries. I kept saying nothing matters but Trump getting back in office. Nothing. Nobody else matters, because if anyone else gets back in, gets into office on the Republican side, that's not Trump, then we lost, because we have to right the wrongs of 2020. We can't let them get away with what they did in 2020. We can't do it. We have to right the wrongs. You can never forget what they did. You can never forget.
I actually think it brings the country together. Stephen A., the other day, President Trump signed an executive order about Krebs, about a guy that he appointed that was at DHS that said it's the most secure, cyber-secured election in history. He actually initiated an investigation. There's Tulsi Gabbard, who was a Democrat, right, head of DNI, director of national intelligence, said that they now have a beginning of proof that the machines can be hacked. And I'm not a machine guy. I say they stole it the old-fashioned way, particularly in Philadelphia and in Pennsylvania with mail-in ballots. But over 70% of the Republican Party believes the 2020 election was stolen. So I think right now, of all Americans, I think it's about 43 to 44, almost 45%. So a vast minority of your fellow countrymen believe that the 2020 election was stolen. And then a whole raft of people think there was something up. I have been adamant from day one. We have to have a congressional investigation, open hearings about get to the bottom of 2020, and let the cards fall where they may. But it's not over. You cannot have something that's questioned in a constitutional republic. And I am adamant that we have to investigate. Now I see that Tulsi Gabbard and President Trump signed an executive order. You're going to have a formal investigation of this. And I'm sure we're going to go over the next couple of years and get it on the table. But for the MAGA believers and the MAGA faithful, it is an article of faith through our knowledge of doing this and drilling down those numbers, that the 2020 election was stolen. President Trump would have never run again. If he actually thought he had lost, he would never run again. He says time and again, he ran for the simple reason he knew the 2020 election was stolen, and he had to come back and right that wrong. This is why we call him, he's like the Roman general Cincinnatus, who retired and went back to his farm and returned at
You're not wrong, Zero. You're not wrong. That's 100% Ryan Kennel in 20 years. Steve Bannon is Ryan Kennel in 20 years. 1,000%.
At the request of the people to basically save Rome from invading armies. That's how we think. We think of President Trump as the American Cincinnatus.
I got a couple of more questions to ask you, and I'll be right back. I don't want the audience to go anywhere, but I got a couple of questions that I got to ask you before I let you get on out of here. I'll be back after I pay these bills.
Let's see. We're not going to sit through all this because I saw how long it was. So we'll skip forward right here.
a lot because some of the stuff that you say.
Let me get a couple of these super chats really quick. Gerald Armstrong says, my brother said Adam Driver would have been 1,000 times better as Snape. That is 100% accurate. A lot of fan castings actually had that. Nasty World for 10 says, all these years, just thought you were a scientist or at least a nurse since you are gay. Thank you. Nandy says, hey, Jer, hope all is good on the fam front. It is what it is. So, it's getting there, but it's a lot, man. Like I said, when people in your family, when they get older, shit sucks and, things happen. So hopefully we'll be out of the woods in a few weeks. But right now we're kind of right in the middle of it. Lying Dogface Pony Soldier says Trump could be Speaker of the House in 2029 instead of president. You never know. Vault 95 says since January, see where I've been on you gaming tonight. Probably not tonight. I got to make videos tonight. Mic loud? What are you talking about? Is my mic loud? Let me see. Hang on. Or are you just trolling me? Audio. No, automatically adjust mic volume. Let's see if that works. Test. All right. We'll see if that's better. Let me know if that's better. 8 o'clock says if Trump got assassinated last July, Kamala would be doubling our taxes and our fast food would cost $25 per person. It's true. It is true. Black Kane says Bannon was slipping into Steiner math. Let me see. Sola Felix says keep hearing that Trump has till 2026 midterms like it's already a foregone conclusion. Isn't it a top priority to secure elections to avoid fraud? I think Trump is very focused on. I think Trump wants to overwhelm more than anything. Donald Trump understands the art of the deal better than anybody. And in a lot of ways, the art of the deal applies to getting the American people on his side by getting results. So with these tariffs and everything going on, like I think by this time next year, I think we could be looking at a whole different economy and our system could be operating completely different because of the tariffs. This is obviously a very complicated matter, and he's putting a lot into this situation, especially with China and things like that. And if he's able to pull off what he wants to pull off with this tariff situation, it will give him so much political capital with the American people. And I think that's what he's playing. I think. River Miles says, that's a Dr. Mario hoodie. Your diagnosis of Miss James was spot on. Dr. Mario. So I got this from Universal Studios at the Super Nintendo World. They also have a Luigi hoodie that I've got. And yeah, so I love the Universal merch. Grant Potato says, I never thought you were anything more than a fig. See, at least you get it. Zihoni says, leftists on X are posting pictures of Trump and Epstein and make insane conspiracy theories surrounding JD Vance. Dude, these people are like, they're unhinged. They're really like this whole situation with what the hell's the black kid's name? Carmelo Anthony. The Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf situation, man. These people are fucking unhinged, man. I mean, we're talking about a person's life that was lost, and they're just like buying into their own racial bias narratives instead of just dealing with reality. But again, when you talk about people that think men can get pregnant, what are you expecting out of people like that? Like, seriously, when you have a person who legitimately believes a man can be pregnant and that men, grown-ass men, should be able to play in women's sports if they identify as women, that right there is the line. Like, once you've drawn that line, nothing else is really that crazy to think about. Once they've established that that's what they think and that's how they view the world, no other sense of reality is going to make any sense. Crazy Clown Town says, where was the meetup streamed? Did Beardo chicken out? No, I addressed it a little bit earlier. Billy Madison with becomes a new member. Thank you. Glee Man says, have you been keeping up with the Carmelo Anthony case? It's absolutely insane. They're trying to make him another George Floyd. I've been keeping up with it some, but yeah, I'm seeing everything that's going on. Like that crazy, the crazy guy that's representing him. That guy is a criminal in his own right. I saw the other day when they were having the news conference or the press conference. And from what I understand, I think that Austin Metcalf's dad was there. And I believe Austin Metcalf's dad had already said that he forgives Carmelo Anthony, if I'm getting this correct. And they had him removed. They had him kicked out. And I'm like, what is happening right now, man? And how can anyone be on this family side? This is crazy, man. Archer Blade says, were you ever into Smallville? Since you're a big Superman fan, the opening theme song was always catchy. I never got into Smallville. The Dean Cain Superman series I loved so much. Terry Hatcher. OG Terry Hatcher as Lois Lane. If you have not seen her, chat, you're welcome. Okay? Terry Hatcher in the Lois and Clark, you're welcome. Okay? 10 out of 10. Okay? You're welcome. Zeke the Wise says, Jeremy, this member message identifies as a proper 199. Sydney Sweeney, please. Look at that. I can't buy into the leftist logic, okay? Yes. Classic Terry Hatcher is greatness for sure.
I was like, I cannot believe this man really, really feels this way and is this adamant about it. But I respect the conviction. But I'm going to switch to something else because I want to get more into you, Steve Bannon. For example, you appeared to have Donald Trump's ear during his first term, but he now seems to be listening to what some would describe as oligarchs or the elites, as you call them. How often do you talk to President Trump right now? And what role do you currently play in the Trump administration?
Look, it's simple. I have a podcast, a show that we've had now going on for 5 years. We started at the beginning of the impeachment when nobody on the right wing or conservative media took the impeachment seriously. When Nancy Pelosi stepped to the microphone, I think it was up at the United Nations, and said she was forming a committee to investigate potential impeachment over the call with Zelensky, I said right away, which I'd been preaching since before 2018, if you lose the House, they will impeach Trump. Just like Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats right now are going to raise $2 billion. The moment they take the House, if they do in 2026, the first order of business in early January 27 is to begin impeachment, the process of President Trump.
That's what I'm saying.
The ruling class.
They're gonna, if they get power in 2026, they're going to derail the rest of Trump's presidency. That's 100% what they're going to do because these people do not play by the rules. They just don't. They don't care. They want you dead. They don't want you owning anything. They don't want you to have any influence, any power, any control over your life. They want none of that. And that's why they hate MAGA so much, because MAGA represents the American dream. MAGA represents individuality. MAGA represents the family dynamic. And they hate it. They can't stand it. Legalize adulthood with 20 gifted memberships. What's up, Legalize Adulthood? In the house with 20 bomb. Let's freaking go. Thank you, brother. Hope you're doing well. I think you were in Vegas too, right? Were you in Vegas at the meetup? I know you were there last time I was there. Blind Ryan says, seen any good movies lately? I haven't. What? You know what I watched for the first time the other day? I watched The Accountant with Ben Affleck and John Bernthal. I had never seen it because The Accountant 2 had released, and I was like, I've never seen the first one. So I watched The Accountant, and I got to say, damn good movie. Damn good movie. Highly recommended if you have not seen it. Ben Affleck is a badass in this movie. Absolutely insane. It's really good. And John Bernthal is one of my favorite actors. And he's great in the movie as well. So Jeeping Baylor says they're real and they're spectacular. If you know, you know. What's up, Jeeping Baylor in the house? Thank you for the 20, brother. Legalize adulthood says, yes, I'm in Vegas. I've been to all the Vegas meetups. Unlike a certain fig we all know. Let's fucking go. I know, man. I could. So yeah, not only obviously my mom going through her stuff, my dad is too. So both of them dealing with in and out of hospitals right now. It's when it rains, it pours. You know what I mean? So Sammy Rice says, these Fs say Carmelo had the right to be where he wasn't supposed to be, but they kick out Austin's father from where he wasn't supposed to be. It's the same. 100%. 100%. These are horrible people. Absolutely terrible people. Let's continue on with not a terrible person, Steve Bannon, who I've been accused of being that I work for him. That's what I've heard.
Mass of this nation know they must destroy Trump and destroy Trump's populist nationalist movement. So it's my show is just a show. We have various experts on and people, and Scott Bessent, Secretary Treasury, was a contributor for a couple of years. Peter Navarro is one of my co-hosts, right? Mike Davis, the Viceroy, the one that has such a big voice, particularly bringing Facebook to trial under the Justice Department and FTC today. He's a prominent member. So we have all the top hardcore, and I mean hardcore MAGA members, people who are, quite frankly, we are farther to the right than President Trump. This platform has led us to have a vanguard of citizens. The reason our show is different, we are the show for the activists. We're not a general audience like Fox or just sitting there changing the channels. We have an activist base. These are the people that make the phone calls. These are the people that took over the Republican Party by the precinct strategy. We believe in one simple thing: human agency. It is your effort and your will that will change this, but you as an individual, and that's what the show is. And President Trump sees clips of it, and he knows that we're backing his policies and we're backing him every day. Although we disagree on certain implementations of the policies, he understands the war room's always there, and that's why I think we've become quite powerful in the MAGA movement.
What are you talking about? I like how he dodged the question Stephen A asked him, which I respect, because Stephen A was like, how often do you talk to President Trump, blah, 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 blah. And Steve Bannon very, very carefully just kind of danced around that one, because it's really not your business, Stephen A. Smith, how much he talks to President Trump. It's not your business. And Steve Bannon danced around with that one perfectly.
What about what the left allegedly has done, what you guys believe that he has done, they have done? You talk about you and your show and the movement essentially being activist, being rife with activists. That's the approach that you have. I get that. So what about the question that one would pose to you in terms of what are you willing to do? What lines are you willing to cross? If you assume that the left has done these things, if you assume that they've stolen an election, what about when people look at you all and they say, is there any lines that you won't cross? Because as we see things unfolding before our very eyes, just the other day with the immigrant that was sent back to El Salvador, he wasn't an American citizen, but the court specifically said about Abrego, I believe that's his name. They said to him, hey, he's to be protected here. The Supreme Court voted 9-0 to keep him here, and that he was gone. And the Trump administration said, hey, we can't get him back. When we see stuff like this in the United States of America, we're not accustomed to seeing an administration essentially ignore the Supreme Court, particularly when they vote unanimously.
He's not right about that. He didn't he say it the opposite? I feel like he's saying the opposite of what happened. But of course, this is Stephen A. Smith. If you've watched Stephen A. Smith for any significant amount of time, he gets things wrong a lot.
Unanimously. Are these the kind of things that you would endorse and support happening?
I absolutely endorse it. Let's go back for a second. On people talk about breaking rules, things like that. We're the biggest believers in democracy. We just won a sweeping victory in November against all odds. Remember, in 2016, where I stepped in and ran.
Because I think Stephen Miller right there in the Oval Office talked about that. It was when Caitlin Collins got absolutely roasted. And if I'm not mistaken, I feel like Stephen A. Smith just completely flip-flopped everything that Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi said. He said the whole thing just in complete reverse.
Campaign starting in mid-August when he was 10 or 12 points behind in 2016. We came out of nowhere to beat Clinton. quite frankly, as people know, a lot of people say Clinton lost more than we won because she was so arrogant about going to Michigan, about going to Flint, Michigan, about going to Detroit, about going to Wisconsin, about going to working class Pennsylvania. We pierced the blue wall because we went there and did rallies, and President Trump convinced working class Democrats and independents to vote for him. So we won that in 2016 that way. In 2024, 4 years they came after Trump. You know, they threatened to put him in jail, to bankrupt him, to do everything, right? They saw us coming, and still President Trump won a sweeping victory, including the popular vote against all odds, as you so well know. And so we're a huge believer in democracy. The reason is we're seeing in front of us a 1932 type reorganization, just like FDR led his coalition. Right now, we have more young black men voting for President Trump than ever. We have Hispanics. Why? Because he's reaching out to working class people. We're populist economic nationalists. And that message is resonating. I tell you, from my time in prison.
That's what's crazy. Like, is Bannon going to talk about how he got really close with the minority community in prison? But I mean, that's what the left doesn't want to talk about. Like, Trump is legitimately unifying America like no other Republican president ever has.
I only put out one statement. It was in late September. And I said, Trump's going to win. And in the third week of September, I said he's going to win. I said, I could tell that from being in a prison. I was teaching civics there, and my students, young African-American and Hispanic men in jail under mass incarceration for nonviolent drug dealing on these ghost drugs, that there were 10 and 15 and 25-year sentences, are sitting there talking about their families, and they, to a person, hated the Democratic Party. Hated the Democratic Party. So the Democratic Party has lied to us. The Democratic Party has misled us. The Democratic Party has destroyed our families and destroyed the basic economics, right? Because they're globalists. It was incredibly powerful. And that's what President Trump represents. So when you get this, is what I was trying to tell Bill Maher the other night when he handed me the Constitution. I said, look, in the unitary theory of the executive, that Trump is the chief executive officer. He is the commander in chief of the armed forces. He is the chief law enforcement officer of the United States government. That's laid out in Article 2, and it couldn't be plainer. And we have 150 lawsuits. And what the Supreme Court, this whole thing started to try to come between President Trump, his duties and responsibilities as the commander in chief of the armed forces. Now, Stephen A. Smith, let me posit to you that if you ever got serious about—
I have not heard this part, so I'm really paying attention here. I don't know what he's about to say.
These are responsibilities as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Now, Stephen A. Smith, let me posit to you that if you ever got serious about this and actually ran for president of the United States, and one of the most important powers you have is commander-in-chief of the armed forces, would you ever, and you swear an oath to God to uphold that, would you let the Supreme Court, any judiciary, come between you and what you've sworn to high heaven that you will protect the Constitution, the American people, as being commander in chief? The answer would be no. You would put your obligation as commander in chief first, and that's what Donald Trump's done.
But I would put my obligation as commander-in-chief first, Steve Bannon, to upholding the laws of this nation and what the Constitution dictates as well. That would play a role. I wouldn't debunk it. I wouldn't shove it aside. I wouldn't say to hell with all of that, because I took this oath before God. So as a result, me being the commander-in-chief of this nation ignores the foundational things that this country was founded on and is upheld by. I wouldn't do that as a way to, for example, when we talk about the terrorists, for example, I'm just switching gears just to make my point. We talk about the terrorists for a second. I don't disagree with Donald Trump about we need to fight China and that we've been hosed and we've been taken advantage of. But I did disagree with how he went about it, because I felt he was alienating a bunch of allies when in fact the target was China. So go after China. By going after everybody, you're turning allies against us potentially, turning them into allies for China potentially. And that was something that concerned me. I'm only making that point to say you can agree with something or you can disagree with something, but under the tenets of the laws that govern our society.
Lord have mercy if Stephen A. is ever in a position. Like, again, I think the Democrats are gonna he's gonna be able to make some noise. I am terrified of the idea that Stephen A. Smith could have any power at any point in time. That is absolutely terrifying, because number one, let's be clear. And again, I know a lot of people may not be familiar with Stephen A. Smith like I am. I've been watching him for a long time, and he is 100% not somebody that will stand against the Democratic system. He will not stand up to the Democrats. He just won't do it. He will absolutely cuck to them. He will play ball. He will do whatever he needs to do because that's what he's done at ESPN. He's played ball at ESPN like a politician. He won't stand up for what he believes in. He plays the race card when it applies. Notice we've been listening to this interview for 25 minutes. He ain't brought up the race card one time. He usually, when the race card is relevant in a conversation, he loves to say, as a black man, he loves to lead into that and talk about racism and the things that black men deal with in the United States of America. He always does this shit. Always.
As long as you play by those rules, we're all safe because you're not scaring the living hell out of the American people. You guys don't seem to do that sometimes. And let me say this to you. You brought up African Americans and Hispanics when you were talking about, a voting bloc that Trump has actually gained ground.
Here's my race card.
And I said to myself, I know you're not bringing that up because you know I'm going to bring up Project 2025, right? You know I'm going to bring that up. And I'm going to wonder your feelings about that, how supportive you are of that, and what kind of debilitating effect you think would have on African Americans and minorities in this country if everything about 2025
legalize adulthood with a proper 199. Says this is just the current Democrat talking point. I agree with the goal, but not the method. But they never have a specific alternative method to offer. The reason you have to levy tariffs on everyone is so China can't skirt the tariff by using a third world country. Ultra MAGA, baby. Chat, why are you guys so excited for a proper 199? You guys are really excited for a proper 199. Is there any reason why? I can't figure out why you guys are being like, you guys are like going crazy. I don't know why. But anyway, we're going to continue discussion. Because I know you guys want to hear what Stephen A. Smith has to say. Oh, that's right. Proper 199 from Legalize Adulthood means it's Sydney Sweeney time. Of course. We know what that means. Everybody's happy. Everybody's excited. And of course, Proper 199 brought to you by Sydney Sweeney. Okay.
I'm so happy you love the first drop of my collection of Frankie's bikinis. We have more dreamy pieces coming our way, so tap to sign up for early access so you can get more information. I'm so happy you love the first drop of my collection of Frankie's bikinis. We have more dreamy pieces coming our way, so tap to sign up for early access so you can get more information.
I had it on loop, and then I was like, well, I'm not going to turn it off when it started the second time. I mean, why would I do that, right? Why would I do that?
Should I do it?
Do not come.
I'm going to do it.
Do not come.
I'm going to come.
Oh. JMNZZ450 says coming in 30 minutes late and setting up a fitty for my future self to see. Look at that. It's like time travel. JMNZZ450. He's talking to me from the past. That's fucking cool, man. It's like Interstellar. He's talking to me from the past. Time dilation, all of that. That's pretty cool, man. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate that. Legalized Adulthood for 10 says Dave Rubin called. He says he likes to visit the Roman bathhouse with Stephen A. Smith so they can both get hot and sweaty. Thank you, Legalized Adulthood. All right, let's hear what Stephen A. has to say. The race card has been activated.
Project 2025 was embraced. What do you say to that?
Well, first off, everything about Project 2025, and I've got my Project 2025 mug right here in front of you. I'm drinking my Warpath coffee out of.
Oh my goodness.
The Project 2025. Look, here's
this is what you have to do. You have to lean into things. This is again, I said it earlier. Some guy commented on my video and he's like, I like everything you had to say, but I couldn't take you seriously wearing a Mario hoodie. So I'm going to wear a Mario hoodie now. Going to wear it more. just because it pisses people off.
When President Trump went back to Mar-a-Lago, right, when the election was stolen, and he was thinking through about running again in those really dark months of January, February, March of 2021, two things happened. One was we started the precinct strategy, which was take over the Republican Party at the grassroots by individual activists, working class people, and middle class people that had no political power, had never been engaged in process before. That was the political aspect of it. The intellectual part of it was that we know we needed, if we came back, not to have happen what happened in 16. In 16, we came from behind. We had very little time for transition. We didn't have a deep bench of people. So we needed a number of years to think through both policies and work through cadres that are working together. That's where you had America First Policy Institute under Brooks Rollins, who's Secretary of Agriculture. You had America First Law Institute under Stephen Miller, who's really the head of policy in the White House. You had conservative CPI under Meadows and DeMint. You had the OMB director, had CRA, Center for Renewing America, Russ Vought, which had Mark Paoletta and Jeff Clark. All these luminaries in the Trump second term had these think tanks. The Heritage Organization stepped in and kind of did an umbrella group to do it. Of course, President Trump, all of those policies are not President Trump's policies. There's various alternatives. The key to Project 2025, I think, if you look at it, is America First, national security, to really think about what's in the best interest of the United States and our citizens, and kind of economic populism, economic nationalism, what you're seeing now and what you dispute is the execution of really the economic war against the Chinese Communist Party. And so I understand there's a lot of debate about how this thing's being executed, but I think if you look at all of those think tanks combined in the policies, what we call days of thunder or flooding the zone, that every day President Trump is doing 7, 8, 9, 10 executive orders, executive actions, having heads of state come in. He's doing press availabilities. No one's ever seen a presidency like this. This is like FDR doing a fireside.
He's right about that. He's right about that. 8 o'clock for a proper 199 and a message that the chat will love. Happy Easter, Snake Pit. Look at that. What a nice message. Happy Easter, Snake Pit. And I will give you a long one that we haven't played in a while. All right. We'll give you some comedy for that one since we just had the proper 199. Let's give you this one right here. A good oldie, but a goodie.
In San Francisco is all about, well, gay bathhouses and everything. It's all about round the clock sex. It's all, come on, man.
I am not gay. I have relationships with women, sex with men.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
I like how Stephen A. Smith looks like he was just watching it. Stephen A. Smith's face, he looks like he was just watching it. He's like, wait, what? Of course, really, because the chat deserves respect. So there you go, chat. Sydney Sweeney in the house. There you go. Thank you, 8 o'clock, and happy Easter to you, brother. Appreciate that.
They chat every day live and disintermediating the media, so the cameras are right there, and he's taking questions and answers.
Thank you, 8 o'clock.
Why
I see you, brother.
signing executive orders? Why taking executive action? This is why this presidency is so powerful. It has so much momentum. But that momentum was 4 years in the making to do this. And that's why Project 2025 and all the policies, President Trump doesn't agree with them all. He's going to pick and choose which one he does believe in. And you're seeing it right now. In his
Project 2025 is bullshit. But at the same time, did they not learn? They ran on Project 2025 being a thing. When I say it's bullshit, I'm not saying that the policies are. I'm saying that attaching that to Trump was bullshit. But it backfired because people looked at Project 2025 and they're like, I mean, this isn't terrible. I like this. This isn't bad, And so why are you continuing to talk about it? He won every swing state. He won the popular vote. It clearly didn't work. So they keep running their mouths about it. These people are stupid. They don't understand. They don't understand. You know who else? I got to show you guys this clip right here. I did not know if this was real or not. Okay. I did not know that this was real. Hassan Piker, left-wing streamer. If this clip is real, this is bad. He's talking about going to a Diddy party. I didn't know he actually went to a Diddy party.
I walked into this like back like sphere Epcot looking thing in the back of like the house that P. Diddy was renting for his and was throwing after parties at Coachella, and they were playing like these crazy things for people who are high. Not me, of course. I had only eaten portobello mushrooms, and one of the images that they were playing was like this little girl, this like supposedly attractive, very young girl, like opening up a Christmas gift. And I think I told you about this, where I was like, this is some real weird Alex Jones style pedo thing here. I walked into this like back.
Holy crap. And so the problem is I can't tell, like, deepfakes are crazy these days. But I 100% would believe it. Like, this is the type of guy, like, he would go to a Diddy party in a second if he was invited, because he's part of that left-wing culture. That is wild. Look at this. He was talking about, I would love to hang with Diddy's entourage and trickle down bang anything thrown his way. That was from 2012. Yikes. That is interesting. I don't even like it. Some of this stuff is so, like, I don't watch Hassan and I don't keep up with a lot of that stuff. Although some of the stuff I do keep up with, like, for instance, I did watch the, I paid attention to all of the stuff with iDubbbz, and there was one tweet in particular that was from Actual Justice Warrior. And he's like, every IP ever created will get a woke reboot. Now even YouTube shows are getting vandalized. I know a lot of people probably don't know the lore here, but iDubbbz back in like 15, 16 or whatever, was like a YouTube edgelord. He was, a huge star on YouTube. He went around saying the N-word in front of other content creators to make them cringe. He would say he would say all the slurs just for a reaction. And now he's a complete left-winger, and he's apologized for all of his previous content. He said it was mean-spirited, and he's asked for forgiveness, and he's teamed up with Hassan to go after Ethan Klein, who's another left-wing retard. And it's backfired completely on iDubbbz and Hassan. It is a wild story, but these are the people that are driving the left-wing narrative to the younger generation out there. People like Hassan and iDubbbz and the people behind iDubbbz right there. They're pushing the left-wing narrative, and the backlash is astronomical for that one. Let me look it up right now and see where it's at. iDubbbz has like over 7 million subscribers. And right here, it's been ratioed. So 358,000 dislikes. See that right here? 321,000 upvotes to 358,000 downvotes. So he's been ratioed big time. And that never happened to him back in the day. Now, yeah, of course you can say the dude got 5 million views. Yeah, I mean, he's got 7 million subscribers. He got 5 million views, tons of interaction, probably made a ton of money off of this. But the backlash will be long-standing. He's never faced anything like this before. Never. So I'm not going to get too far into that because I don't follow that world that much. But it is important to pay attention to who's actually poisoning the young minds out there. And it's people like these weirdos. You know, I'm no fan of Ethan Klein, who's the target of that video that started all of it. I'm no fan of him at all. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but Jordan Peterson warned Ethan Klein, because Ethan Klein from H3 used to be more like kind of that edgelord kind of YouTube world. And then he moved to more of a progressive audience and started to get more into the left-leaning stuff. He had an interview with Jordan Peterson that he deleted, and then Jordan Peterson tweeted at him and has say, "Why are you deleting our conversations? I don't think that's right." And Ethan Klein was essentially just trying to distance himself from anyone that was considered right. Jordan B. Peterson said, "I'm warning you now that the audience that you are getting closer to will eat you alive at some point. You should back off, because the road you're going down, they're going to eat you alive and they're going to leave you and hang you out to dry." And guess what? That's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. And yeah, Jordan B. Peterson lost a lot of respect. My man, I know that. I'm not a fan of Jordan B. Peterson. Jordan B. Peterson, like when he's talking about a specific thing, he's on point, but he is 100% a boomer nut job when it comes to like anonymity on, social media. He's like, "I think you should all dox yourself so I can see who you are and where you work. If you're being mean to me, you need to give me your address and real name and family history right now so I can hunt you down." And you're like, what the hell are you talking about, man? It's wild, So, but anyway, YouTube drama, as I tweeted, where did I tweet it? Right here. YouTube drama is super cringe, but also incredibly entertaining at the same time. It's so weird. I agree with that. But look at this. This is a real tweet from today, ladies and gentlemen. President Donald Trump and Vince Vaughn in the Oval Office and the White House tweeted this out. White House crashers, Vince Vaughn and Donald Trump. The White House tweeted this. We are so back. Oh, man. So damn good. I fucking love it, dude. Hayden Wayne 450 says, "Did you watch the part where iDubbbz cried at the end of that video?" Yes. Dude, I'll fucking pull that part up right now just so everybody can see how bad this is. All right, so iDubbbz crying. Let's see here. Yeah, right here. So here's here's iDubbbz crying. This is during the content cop that he made. Here's him talking about, just so you know, iDubbbz has been cucked by his wife. It's bad. She's an OnlyFans chick, and she's completely changed him. This is what took him down the leftist narrative. And for the record, iDubbbz called me out a long time ago. He called me out in a video. So just so there's a little history there. I don't think he really knows who I am per se, but he definitely called me out in one particular video. But listen to this.
I also see the dynamic of Ethan and Neil. It's really hard to be a couple online and see people attacking your partner, and it's like, okay, like if you come to their defense, if that doesn't always help them, right? Sometimes that makes it worse for them. I also.
Oh my God. What are we doing? I remember when his wife, Anissa, was Rainbow Kids, and she seemed super centrist back then, made tons of edgy jokes. All of them fell to audience capture and right side of history. 100%. Listen, man, the worst thing you can do as a YouTuber and a content creator is to be audience captured. You can't do it. It's like I've talked about with Angry Joe. He's scared of his audience. People like him, they can't humanize somebody like me. They've built me up to be the big bad wolf. Oh, he's a MAGA supporter. He's crazy. He's unhinged. And then they have a real conversation with me. They're like, "Oh, wow, you're not crazy." Okay. What did you expect? You know what I mean? And so this is what happened. Like me and Angry Joe got into a back and forth on Twitter. I reached out privately. This is years ago. We had a Discord call, me, him, and Eric July. I feel like we hashed our differences out. And I'd said like, we were talking about like him coming on Main Event and all that. And I'm like, I don't really think that's a good idea because I just don't think like my audience is going to fucking cook you, bro. That's what's going to happen. And I just don't want to set that standard, for like, cause then like, it's then I go to your streams and you're all like, it's whatever. So I really wasn't interested on having him on a stream. I've had a couple of these big YouTubers that have interacted with me privately, wanting to come on stream with me. And it really comes down to the fact that I don't trust them. I don't trust them. I feel like that they have is some type of different motive in mind. I don't think that their motivation is to build a bridge with me. I don't. I think that their motivation is to do something that I'm not aware of, and I'm just not going to give them the opportunity to do it. So I told Joe and another one who's just about as big as Joe. I had a Discord call with this other one, and I've told him straight up, I don't need you. Like, I know you got millions of subscribers. I don't need you. I don't care about you. Like, you mean, like, I like your content and I've watched you for a long time, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I don't need you. Like, I don't need you for content. I don't get any kicks from going, oh, I've collabed with this guy because he has a lot of subscribers. I don't fucking care. And so with Joe, like when I messaged him for the first time, I sent this long message. I'm not going to like release DMs and stuff like that. I'm just going to be kind of vague with it. But I basically just like, hey man, I've been watching you for a long time. It's kind of fucking crazy that we're even interacting with each other. That's kind of wild to me. Blah, 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 blah. And he comes back and he was completely blown away that I was a normal person. And I'm like, what did you expect? Exactly. But he talks to me publicly like he has zero respect for me. It's because he's audience captured. He's scared of his audience. He's scared of his left-wing audience. You can't normalize the Trump supporter. You can't pretend like the Trump supporter is a decent dude who just said, hey, Joe, I respect your content. I know we disagree on politics, and that's okay, but I actually have a lot of respect for you as a content creator, and I have for a long time. Oh, no. No, you can't portray me as that type of person because your audience will be mad that you're being nice to a Trump supporter. You can never be audience captured. And that's not always an easy thing, but it is what it is. But you just got to be true to who you are. And that's why, for me, you get mad that I'm wearing a Mario hoodie, I'll fucking wear another Mario hoodie. I don't care. I'm here to be honest with people. I'm here to be true to what I believe and be honest with the audience. But I'm not going to just do things just because the audience wants that or vice versa. Jesse MacArthur with 5 gifted memberships. Let's fucking go. Emmanuel for 5 gifted memberships. Let's go. Lying Dogface Pony Soldier with a gifted membership. Thank you. Squiddy Girl with a gifted membership. Thank you. Man, look at that. Look at that. You guys are crushing it with the gifties tonight. GP Baylor says, would you ever entertain the idea of having Asmongold on with you on Tuesday night's main event? I don't think Asmon does stuff like that. I'm kind of at a place like I'm at a place from a content creation standpoint. Like the more I get to know YouTubers, the less I want to know YouTubers, whether that's the political side, whether that's the gaming side, whether that's the movie side. I'm happy with the friends that I have on YouTube, but I don't like YouTubers. I just don't. There's a lot of them that I just do not like. And, let me see here. Hang on. I just saw something in the chat. Let me see if I can find this. Is Courage in here? Let's see. I don't see Corrigan. Corrigan sent a super chat on Friday Night Tights and accused me of being a hypocrite and said that I've banned them from my channel. So when I saw that super chat come in, you said that I don't know if it was you, but it was somebody with your name. Did you send a super chat, a $5 super chat? And you said that I'm a hypocrite and I banned you on my channels. Because I looked and you're not banned on any of my channels. So you were trolling. Oh, all right. Well, then guess what? I'll troll you right now and just ban you. There you go. Let's see. There you go. All right. Banned. All right. There you go. You want to troll? We can troll, motherfucker. All right. It was only a 10-second timeout. I just did it for 10 seconds. It's fine. I just did it for 10 seconds. It's okay. He'll be right back. All right, let's see where we're at. Dread Legion says, hey, Jeremy, have you ever watched Joe? I don't know who that is. It's Joe Biden in the land of Skyrim. Oh, really? I have not seen that one. I remember the Macho Man edits for Skyrim. So good. River Miles says, Diddy Party versus Uncle Chunk Party. Horses for courses. Is Corrigan back? Sorry, Corrigan. Hey, look.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
Let's see. Brandon says, hey, Jeremy, will you and Geeks and Gamers be hosting a watch party for NHL playoffs on Locals? Battle of Florida in the first round is shaping up to be epic. Yes, more than likely. Beardo is going to be handling a lot of that. But yeah, I more than likely, yes. When we covered the Masters, that was so cool. I had so much fun covering the Masters. So yeah, more than likely we'll cover NHL playoffs as well. Solo Felix is Democrats equal party of slavery and now MS-13. Isn't that accurate? Let's see. Scroats Magoat says Hassan going to a fiddler club in Germany. Coincidence. Hassan going to a fiddler club in Germany and a legit diddler party pattern. 8 o'clock says Filthy Frank and John Tron won in the long term. All the other old edgelords have become cringe. You know who really won? Do you know who really won more than anyone? And there's only one. There's only one that. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. I got to pull it up. Yeah, you know who won? PewDiePie won. Okay, Pewds won. Man's got his whole family there, raising a family, got a great life. You know, PewDiePie won. Greatest YouTuber of all time, PewDiePie. No doubt about it. So, Mark of Reality says, it's good that you're a regular person, but please stop calling yourself normal. You're scaring the children. What's up, Mark of Reality? Panic and Skyfaller says, Trump's third term is a scare tactic. Trump knew he was going to drop tariffs, and if China thinks he can get a third term, it scares them that the tariffs can actually last for more years, aka more leverage. That is a very believable theory. 100%. That's a very believable theory. And I'm on board for that being potential of it too. I mean, look, he's a deal maker. He's the best deal maker there is. So anything he can do to continue that leverage. So yeah, I believe that. Heartbreaker Zero says, wishing you some T's and P's for your mom's procedure to go well and a couple more for your eventual tranny surgery, you colossal fig. Hail the 199. Thank you. Lucifer says, filthy soy cuck possibly loves being pegged. Gorgeous says, love you so much. Couldn't help myself. It's all good, brother. Right back at you, man. Right back at you. Knights Ben says, yo, Jeremy, is there a 199 red hoodie? Happy Easter 199. There's not, but there could be. I need to get back on the merch. We just have so much going on. Like, look at this right here. Let me show you guys something. I'm actually really proud of this. And it just kind of shows, like, the Geeks and Gamers, universe, I guess, if you want to call it that, it just continues to expand and do crazy stuff. So look at this right here. If I can sign in. Do I even know how to sign in on here? Let's see. Yeah, I don't know how to sign into Instagram, but I should be able to look. Can we look at the reels? Okay, look at this right here. This is the Park Hoppin' Instagram. Look at these views that Krista's getting. 139,000 views right here on this video from Krista. 96,000 views right there. 1.3 million views right here from Krista. 1.2 million views right there from Krista. Her and Jay been doing a great job over there. 76,000 views, 50,000 views. She's doing a great job. So really, I'm really proud to see stuff like that just continues to, grow the Geeks and Gamers brand. And, her and Jay doing a great job of Park Hopping. Epic Universe has been really good for us. The Geeks and Gamers 2 channel's doing good. I've got to get the Geeks and Gamers main channel back in a rhythm. This one, I've got to get this one back in the rhythm with making videos, but I'm really proud of our team for what we're doing. Eggy Orphan says, hey, Jeremy, so you watch Freedom Tunes, good content. I've checked out a couple of things on Freedom Tunes. I can't say that I watch their content per se, but I've seen a few of their things. Right here, I want to watch this if I can. 4112. Okay. So right here is Conor McGregor talking with Tucker Carlson. Conor McGregor talks to Tucker Carlson, 4112, about Trump's tariffs. And I think he's legit about getting into politics. So I want to hear what he has to say about Trump and the tariffs really quick. I think Conor McGregor is going to be a player. I really do.
There are positive changes happening incrementally, slowly but surely. And as I said, there's a great group of people, and it's the majority of Irish people that are at the helm of it. I'm a voice and a support, and as I said, I'm here to serve my country to the best of my ability and protect my country. That is all I wish. I wish for the people to have the power and myself to have a vote amongst the people. That is my aim.
What did you think of President Trump?
What do I think of him?
Yeah.
I think he's doing very, very well. I think, I was present for his 2016 inauguration, although not officially. I was there on fighting business. I was fighting in Madison Square Garden for my second UFC world title. And MMA and UFC had just become legalized in New York at the time. And I remember Trump had been just voted in and he won the election. And there was uproar on the streets and anger and, fear, I suppose, was going on. And at that time, I was just an observer. Politics wasn't really on my mind at that time. Ireland was not really going through what it was going through at that stage in 2016. Although it was rising, it was unbeknownst to me and many in the country.
Were you not political, really?
Not really political, no, at that stage. I was focused on my craft, and it wasn't at the forefront. It all kind of took a turn post-COVID. It all took a real turn post-COVID. And you could kind of see what was going on and what had gone on post the crash, and who our government is serving. You could kind of see that come to fruition then throughout the COVID era. And then I just became more invested in it, and then that was it. But I was there for Trump's inauguration when he was sworn in for the.
And I mean, listen, Conor McGregor has always been he brought a professional wrestling kind of mentality to his UFC run. I mean, I don't know the UFC is as good as some other people, but I mean, am I wrong in saying that Conor McGregor is the biggest draw in UFC history at his peak? Like, was he the biggest individual draw that the UFC has ever had at his peak? It feels like he was. But I could be wrong about that. I know Brock was pretty big too, but I think he was the biggest. Easily. Somebody says nope, but then a bunch of yeses. I think he was, from a money standpoint, I think Conor's probably the biggest draw they've ever had.
The first time, fear, worry, panic. And then I was there the second time in 2024, most recent, and it was elation and excitement. And I thought it was good to see. They asked me, what do I think he'll be as a president? I said, well, when it was 2016 in the media runs I was doing. And I said, let's see, we give the man a chance. He's not from a political background. He's from a different background. It's interesting. Let us see. And I thought he'd done well. Towards the end of the term, there may have been times too, as a leader of a country, you almost need to, cool the flames. Maybe there were some things that might have fanned the flames towards the end of his term that I thought.
I disagree with Conor McGregor right there, 1,000%. If you go back to the end of his term, during the COVID bullshit, like, he was actually going out there trying to keep people calm by saying it'll be gone in a few months. It's gonna once the summer gets here and heats up. Like, he was always not buying into the media panic, and that made them mad when Trump would downplay COVID, because they wanted outrage. They wanted people freaking out. Trump would always downplay that.
But this time around, I feel he's off to a good start, and I wish him well. I wish the country of the United States of America well. I consider them my dear siblings. We consider America our sibling, and I think it's going well, and we're getting a good fair bit of energy from it.
How does Jeremy understand this guy? Because I watched the movie Snatch with Brad Pitt, and I couldn't understand Brad Pitt in that movie, but I can understand Conor a little better than Brad Pitt's character in that movie. You like Dags? You like Dags?
From Ireland, even amidst the tariff situation that is going on, Ireland's people have not seen the money got to do with this whatsoever. In fact, we have been, robbed of our own money, and yet we are supposed to be this wealthy country. Yet the people of Ireland are struggling to heat their homes.
Rosie O'Donnell part.
Sure. We'll get you one of them.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, that's nice.
So, in sad news, I know you said you're a, looking at the bright side kind of guy, but Rosie O'Donnell has moved here. If you're president and you tackle the immigration crisis, and I do think Pakistan and India take a lot of the blame for it, Africa, but also Rosie O'Donnell, like, would you deport her? Can you promise to
what is
deport
her
her?
criminal history? Has she got a criminal background? How did she enter the country? Did she enter the country illegally? Has she assimilated with our community? Does she hold our beliefs? Is she a upstanding member of our community?
No!
Or would she be? If she is not, well, then she's got to go. You ain't got to go home. You got to get the hell out of here. But I don't know Rosie O'Donnell from Adam. But,
would you
I believe she's a comedian. I've seen her on our national TV. She spoke a bit ill of me. I don't know Rosie. She seems unhappy. She seems going through something.
She's gonna end up every country's gonna have a president that she's talked shit to, and they're all gonna fucking hate her
at the moment. And I'm not the type of person to kick a person when they're down. I wish for her. I believe she's a comedian, is what her craft is. I wish for her to find her happiness again, and that is it. I am, that was
But
what
you
I
could
would say
feel that
for
she
her.
was going through something, even.
I could feel it for sure.
I think,
and I wish for her. I wish, happiness and spread love in the world. That's it.
Well, you're a very, very decent man, I have to say. Last question: Do you think that Ireland is, like, famously a spiritual country?
Mm-hmm.
Your patron saint, St. Patrick, after whom the day is named, was a Christian leader, and you think of Ireland as like a very religious country. It's not really anymore. Do you think it's becoming more spiritually aware or less?
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you feel that?
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a good time to pull up this right here, Trump on Rosie O'Donnell.
Well, pretty much I went on various television shows and bashed Rosie O'Donnell. There you go.
Well, Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting. I mean, both inside and out. You take a look at her, she's a slob.
She talks like a truck driver. Rosie attacked me personally because I was very happy when her talk show failed. The other thing that failed, and this was a real monster, and everybody was suing her, was her magazine. Her magazine called Rosie was a total disaster. So I loved it. I gloat over it. I think it's wonderful because I like to see bad people fail. Rosie failed. I'm happy about it. She's basically a disaster. Well, she called me a snake oil salesman. And, you know, coming from Rosie, that's pretty low because when you look at her and when you see the mind is weak. I don't see it. I don't get it. I never understood. How does she even get on television? I believe Barbara made a terrible mistake putting her on, and I think Barbara's probably paying a big price. If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie. I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired. We're all a little chubby, but Rosie's just worse than most of us. But it's not the chubbiness. Rosie is a very unattractive person, both inside and out. Rosie's a person that's very lucky to have her girlfriend. And she better be careful or I'll send one of my friends over to pick up her girlfriend. Why would she stay with Rosie if she had another choice?
God dang. That is one of the most savage things I have ever heard in my life. Holy shit. Like, the Don, the billionaire Don. I gotta hear. I know we've heard it several times. It's so freaking good, dude.
She's a person that's very lucky to have her girlfriend. And she better be careful or I'll send one of my friends over to pick up her girlfriend. Why would she stay with Rosie if she had another choice? She's trying to use ABC and The View to get even with me. But with me, we fight back. I'll probably sue Rosie because she doesn't tell the facts. As an example, I'm worth many billions of dollars. Now, she said I was bankrupt. I never went bankrupt. So probably I'll sue her because it would be fun. I'd like to take some money out of her fat ass pockets. I actually think they ought to look at her whole life and see where she's coming from because I think she's got some very deep-seated problems. Perhaps it should be Rosie that goes to rehab. Rosie is a loser.
God, how often does this go? Like, this is like a long video, man.
Many billions of dollars. Now, it's not to brag about. I'm worth many billions of dollars. It's very simple. She said I was bankrupt.
This
now,
goes
I
on
never went
forever.
bankrupt. She said I filed bankruptcy 3 times. I never filed bankruptcy. I never.
She's lonely. She's computer enhanced.
I don't know if I can breathe the same air as him and his right-wing, racist, homophobic, women-hating teabagger masters. To which you responded, that shares an average talent, who's out of touch with reality. But then you threw in Rosie. I mean, you resurrected Rosie into the fight by calling her a total loser. She wasn't even in this fight with you.
Well, I likened her to Rosie as a loser, but I understand Cher, and Cher is somewhat of a loser. She's lonely, she's unhappy, she's very miserable, and her sound-enhanced and computer-enhanced music doesn't do it for me, believe me.
Well, it seems like you get into these Twitter battles with these women,
no, with people in general,
women.
not women. In fact,
Not
usually women I prefer not because I find them much tougher than men. But actually, I do on occasion get into battles, and I also have my great likes. I mean, I also greatly respect people.
It's really amazing. When I don't like somebody, their shows do really badly. Maybe it's subconscious, maybe it's will over matter, who knows? But their shows do really badly. Lawrence O'Donnell, his show is failing. It's a disaster. They moved him out of the 8 o'clock slot because Bill O'Reilly was absolutely killing him. They gave him the less coveted 10 o'clock spot, and he's dying at that. Then you have Rosie O'Donnell. It's really interesting. Their names are the same. Maybe they should get married, but Rosie just found a new mate, and I don't think she'd find him attractive, even if that were the way she goes. So Rosie O'Donnell's show.
I've never heard this part. Holy shit.
Was a disaster. It's a complete disaster. Now, that upsets me a little bit because I love Oprah. And I'd like to see everything on Oprah be successful. I want her network to be great. But Rosie's show is a complete and total disaster. Lawrence O'Donnell's show is a complete and total disaster. Moved from a coveted spot. Now, even at 10 o'clock, it's a mess. So I have an idea. Maybe Rosie O'Donnell and Lawrence O'Donnell, and they must be related somewhere along the line, they should get together, form a show, and they'll have the lowest rated show of all time. What a good idea.
I'm a natural at television.
Holy shit, man. There's always some gold to find with President Trump. Always. Monica for 2 says that Geeks and Gamers World Takeover. One day, maybe. One day. Irish Skywalker says Vince Vaughn casting Trump to replace Rip Torn in the Dodgeball sequel. It would be epic. Hell, I'm still not a bot. Hey, happy Easter. Thank you, Irish Skywalker. I know you're not a bot, brother. You know us. You know we just talk shit. Forest of the Tree says, could you tell me what type of brand camera and microphone that you, Gary, as use in your videos? Thanks. So I XLR mics are the best mics you can get. Whether it's a Shure SM7B, which is what I have right here. I think Gary has an RE20. Both of those are XLR mics. You'll have to get like a Rodecaster or a Go XLR because you can't run it straight to your computer. And then in cameras, I mean, I do have a Canon M50 that I've rarely used. But when I'm streaming, I have a Logitech webcam. What is it? A Brio? I think it's a Logitech Brio is what I have, which is a couple $100 for the Brio. If you're talking about the Canon M50, which is a much more expensive camera for, this, I would not recommend buying an expensive camera. I would recommend buying a really good mic setup for sure. If you're going to have some money to spend, I would invest money into audio and just get a $100 or $200 webcam. Cameras are, I just don't think cameras are that important. I mean, I do, when I record my regular videos, I do use my Canon M50, but every time you see me streaming, I'm using my webcam. But anyway, yeah, man. But if budget is a thing, I would just get a USB mic. I would get a Yeti, a Blue Yeti. You can get a Blue Yeti for about $150. These microphones and the Rodecaster and all that, you're going to spend over $1,000. Taker says Rosie O'Donnell mistakenly deported to El Salvador mega prison. Black Kane says, to be fair, most of that could be said of Beardo. Sir Ruin of House Roundhead says, what do you think of the AOC presidency would be like? Curious about your thoughts on that. I mean, I don't think AOC would be in control of anything. First of all, entertaining the idea of an AOC presidency is such nonsense. So I want to establish that right now, that I don't think that it's possible. But for the hypothetical sense of an AOC presidency, she would have no control whatsoever. She would not be in control. The powers that be would be in control of everything she says and everything she does. She would not make any decisions that are her own. She would be a controlled puppet. So she would just be a front person is all she would be. She would have absolutely no power whatsoever. To be fair, I mean, none of them have any of the power. None of the people that are going to be on the Democratic side. None of them. So, Mike Steele for a MAGA red $100. Holy crap. Jeremy, miss you at the meetup. I sent you an XDM with a more personalized message. Love you and yours. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I hated that I wasn't there. I really did. Like, I saw a lot of the pictures and it looks like everybody had a great time. Again, I rarely talk about anything going on in personal life on the internet, but I think it should be, I should be a little more transparent because, I didn't go to the meetup, but yes. So, both my parents have some medical stuff going on right now. And so I'm having to deal with that. And so, that takes precedent over everything. And so family first, but, so I could not justify being, on the other side of the country, for any significant amount of time. And, but I missed it. I missed, being out there with you guys, and I'm glad everybody had a great time. Obviously we'll have to be there for next year. And then obviously we'll have, the, Orlando meetup, getting that all set up for sure as well. So, but it wasn't because, I didn't want to be, that's for sure. Cause, man, these meetups are the best. Meeting people is the best part of what we do. And just getting to it's really a game changer when you get to meet people in person. And of course, introduce yourself by your screen name, because that's the way we know all of you. Because I can't tell you how many times somebody went up to like, hey, my name is so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, hey. They're like, yeah, I go by. And then they say, oh, hey, man. Yeah, I recognize the name. So it's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right. Last thing I wanted to talk about really quick. Let me pull this up. Let's see if I can find it. Got to go through my bookmarks really quickly and see if I can track this down. Oh gosh, man. I swear. The memes are so good. This is not what I wanted to talk about, but I did see this. Like, the internet's the greatest thing ever. It really is.
I ain't got a good brain.
I think you've got a fine brain, Jack.
You make me happy. I ain't.
Good God, dude. I love the internet so much. I love the internet so much. And of course, this one right here. This one right here.
I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun, and the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. I got hairy legs that turn that.
Oh man. And the bad thing is like she's offended by this stuff. 100% offended by that. We laugh at this stuff because we get memed all the time, so we're cool with it. We're like, whatever, it's no big deal to us. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are prepared for the bad news that I have to share with all of you. I regret to inform you that President Trump is done. It's over. These are the guys that demand Trump now be impeached. Trump does not stand a chance. It's finally over, ladies and gentlemen. These are the men that are going to take Trump down right here. Oh, man, he's never going to survive this. Trump can never survive this. I thought that he was going to be able to withstand all the attacks, but I stand corrected. When I'm wrong, I have to admit I'm wrong. What is this? I haven't even seen this. What is this? Tom Homan needs to pay this guy a visit.
Hi, I'm Shri Thanedar running for governor.
Free Darth Vader?
No, Shri Thanedar.
For single-payer health care, not a single penny of corporate money.
Shri.
Siri.
How can I help you?
Shri.
Radar?
Thanedar. Shri Thanedar.
Not Rick Snyder?
That's closer. Closer.
Scientist Shri Thanedar, the most progressive Democrat for governor.
Hi, I'm Shri Thanedar running for governor.
Yeah, so Trump's done. Trump cannot survive this. He's done. My goodness. What are we doing, man? I'm blown away by this. I really am. Don't forget, tomorrow is Wrestlemania, guys. And I think the chat will appreciate this. We're covering Wrestlemania over on Geeks and Gamers Locals. And if anything, okay, at least, even if you're not a wrestling fan, do you at least want to see Stephanie McMahon introduced Wrestlemania? I think you do, okay? So here's Stephanie McMahon introducing Wrestlemania.
Welcome to WrestleMania!
I'm a fan. All right. If you guys watched WWE back in the day, you would know that Stephanie McMahon, yeah, big time. Okay, this right here happened earlier today. This just should show you exactly what the mainstream media is all about. The moment Trump begins to prove the illegal presence of this gang member, MSNBC cuts away. Got to keep people in the dark.
In 2019, Garcia was issued a deportation order. Two separate judges affirmed Garcia was a member of MS-13, which is a gang that may be even worse.
We've been watching President Donald Trump there swearing in the new administrator of the CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, Dr. Mehmet Oz, during this conversation.
In 2000.
Disgusting, dude. The mainstream media is absolutely horrendous. And they're never going to stop. They're never going to stop. Also, real quick, I know a lot of you know I live in Florida. If you live in Florida, or if you're thinking of moving to Florida or vacationing in Florida, just understand that you're probably going to be dealing with this right here. As soon as I can fix it, you're probably dealing with this. Bro, what? Could you imagine walking out your front door and seeing that? That's awesome. That is freaking crazy. I don't really have mini gators in the Panhandle area where I'm from, but they're more like in, more over towards, like mainly Central Florida, around that area, and then below for sure. But not Panhandle's not too bad about them, but Central Florida for sure. That's crazy though, man. Look at that. That's awesome. That is super freaking cool. All right, I wanted to show everybody that one. And this is like, I don't know if you guys remember the story of, God, this happened several years ago, but a little boy was taken by an alligator at Walt Disney World while, him and his family were on vacation at the Grand Floridian. They were at the Grand Floridian. They were standing at or near the water, and a little boy, young, like a few years old, and a gator comes out of the water, snatches him, and takes him away, and they never see him again. And I'm just like, I still have trouble comprehending that. I really do. I actually, when I was there last time, they have like a memorial there for him and everything. And it's just a horrible situation, man. Could you imagine that? Like you go to Walt Disney World to vacation with your family, and your young son is literally taken by an alligator and never seen again. Absolutely horrendous. Terrifying, man. Terrifying stuff, to say the least. So, now, I want to move over to a serious topic really quickly. Because as you guys know, I'm a big advocate of respecting women, especially minority women. And so I'm going to need all of you to just appreciate and respect the story that we're going to talk about really quickly. Gayle King, Blue Origin crew member Gayle King, is fed up with people dismissing her heroic 11-minute trip to space as just a ride. Guys, she is a woman of color. And I personally, I don't appreciate that so many people have been disrespectful of her and Katy Perry. They are brave and stunning women, and we can never disrespect them in any capacity whatsoever. They are the queens of the world, and we have to be nicer. And on that note, I'm going to show you guys how to respect women properly in Trump's America. Because this is proof that we are healing as a country. Here we go. Let's listen to this minute 16 clip from Theo Vaughn here. This is how you respect women.
Who do the kids like?
Oh,
Sydney Sweeney. That's
Sydney
a good one.
Sweeney.
Look at the tits on Dickless.
God. Oh, wow.
Holy hachi machi.
She seems like a beautiful young lady, huh?
Very attractive.
She just got separated from her husband. I think.
Oh, hey, you're in.
That's slurp alert. I thought about sending her a message, but I don't know what I would say.
Hey, say nice yams, bitch.
Oh, yeah, that's true, dude.
Dude, a few years ago, he would have been canceled. He would have been canceled for saying that.
But I don't know what I would say.
Hey, say nice yams, bitch.
Oh, yeah, that's true, dude.
I think she wants that. No one talks to her like that anymore, so it's probably turn her on.
You think? Oh, I'll definitely say something about that vegetation.
Yeah, she's got some crop circles.
Oh yeah, brother, dang, dude.
Is that the ex? That guy looks like a ug me. Oh man, I feel great.
Yeah, that guy definitely fumbled the breast.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, look, he looks like an Uber driver.
Yeah, dude, it would take you 70 minutes to get her bra on, I think.
Yeah, that's a lot to compact in there.
Oh, you would have to have a buddy. It would almost have to be like two of those guys doing that slingshot thing or whatever.
Yeah, it's like trying to get leaves in a bag.
Oh, yeah, dude. Wow.
So look, that is a lovely, lovely. It's good to know that a blonde with huge cans that's back.
Fuck yeah, that's a great point, dude.
This conversation couldn't have happened a few years ago. This conversation would have melted down Twitter, Jack Dorsey's Twitter. Theo Vaughn would have been banned on every platform. They would have been labeled horrible, horrible things. This is proof that Elon Musk and Donald Trump have helped bring greatness back to America. It's absolutely fantastic. The fact that a conversation like that can happen is truly the best thing ever. It really is. And I'm so happy. When I saw that clip, I'm like, yeah, that's what men do. We sit around, we talk shit. It's what we do. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And anybody saying anything differently is just a clown. It should not be. No one should pay attention to them at all. I have not seen this clip, but apparently Jamel Hill had a conversation with, let's see. Says Nick Adams says, so Scott Jennings and Jamel Hill. Jamel Hill is one of the most insufferable people on the planet.
Supposed to be about what can you actually prove that someone has done?
I actually am not even all that worried about all the things that we have found out in the wake of the investigations into this guy. What I am worried about is that, and I'm going to grant you, he has a withholding order and he should not have gone to El Salvador.
And they admitted it was a mistake.
But even if you grant that, he has an adjudicated deportation order, and you have Democrat public officials falling all over themselves trying to get him back here without thinking through the next step, which is he's literally going to be deported somewhere else.
But not to
But
a
my
prison.
suspicion is when they bring him back, they're going to try to keep him here.
Well,
That's the next part.
He is great, man. He is fantastic. And Jamel Hill is one of the worst people on the planet. Jeremy the Cyborg for a proper 199. Holy crap. I feel the need to have to, let me pull up our messages, Jeremy the Cyborg, because I got to give you another shout out, brother. So Jeremy the Cyborg, he actually, at last week's Monday Night Raw, he messaged me and he says, hey, be on the lookout for this sign. Jeremy the Cyborg representing the 199. Here we go right here. So he says, be on the lookout for this sign right here. And then during the telecast, he had the Geeks and Gamers 199 sign out in the crowd. Freaking awesome, dude. That is badass. I love it, man. That's the way G&G will continue to blow up is having peeps like that out there representing, man. That's cool as shit, man. And thank you for the proper 199, Jeremy the Cyborg. And of course, you know what that means, Jeremy the Cyborg. And we got to play the long Trump clip to follow up as we close this night out. Here we go.
Should I do it?
Do not come.
Come on, baby.
Come on.
I'm going to do it.
Do not come.
I'm going to come.
Beautiful white paint. It's coming down at 10,000 miles an hour. It's coming down at levels of speed that nobody ever even conceived of. Where it's rough, but it's coming, and now it's turned around. It turns around, and it's coming, and it's going to, I said, oh, because you see at that bottom, this section right here, that sucker's, oh.
Let's go. Thank you, Jeremy the Cyborg. Appreciate you, brother. Let's see. Headset Oracle says Florida, where you can find a dino on the doorstep. Taker says those gators are like, Jay, are you home? We want to join the rebellion. Hello, are you in there? Is Jay in the chat? I saw some people saying hey to Jay. Grant Potato says that alligator is a Jehovah's Witness. Hello, have you heard about our Lord and Savior? 8 o'clock says, I believe in two things, the First Amendment and boobs. You know what? If I could find that clip, I'll play it. Let me see if I could find it. That's one of my all-time favorite clips. Clay Travis, CNN. It's one of the greatest clips of all time. Is this it right here? Yeah, this is so freaking good. 8 o'clock. I got it. I got it pulled up. So here we go. Right here. This is one of the greatest clips in internet history right here.
And that had absolutely nothing to do with sports. And they said, look, you can't have this opinion. It's too conservative. We're not going to allow it. I think that's a bad move. I'm a First Amendment absolutist. I believe in only two things completely, the First Amendment and boobs. And so once they made the decision that they were not going to allow a conservative, non-sports related commentary, they couldn't do it.
Hold on. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly as a woman anchoring the show. Did you say, what did you just say? You believe in the First Amendment and BWBS?
Boobs. Two things that have only never let me down in this entire country's history, the First Amendment and boobs. So those are the only two things I believe in absolutely in the country. And so I don't think Jamel Hill should be fired, but I do think straight up that once you make the decision that you are going to let Kurt Schilling go, that you have to also make the decision that you're going to let Jamel Hill go. I think that's a bad decision. I think ESPN has made bad decisions that have led to 13 million subscribers bailing on the network. They've made bad decisions that have led to ratings collapsing. Jamel Hill's television show is collapsing. Ratings were down 20% last week over last year. I think that's why she's angry. I think that's why she went after Donald Trump. She's begging for ESPN to fire her so she can work somewhere else.
Okay. Keith, what do you think?
Listen, I'm astonished at almost everything I just heard. One of the things that, and Jamel's a personal friend, not.
Oh, it gets better. I got a good story for you about this Keith Reed clown.
Just a colleague, but a personal friend. One of the things that Jamel's had to deal with her entire career, and many women who I'm friends with in this business and have been friends with in this business for a long time, is sexism, blatant sexism, comments about her appearance, comments about her racially, comments about her inability or perceived inability to be able to comment on sports because of her gender. For somebody to come on CNN and to say something like the only thing I believe in a discussion
I'm
about
still there too, and I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. BOOZE or BOOBS? Because as a woman, I'm
as in boobs. I believe completely in the First Amendment and in boobs. Those are the only two things I believe 100% in this country. And by the way, Jamel has absolutely nothing to do with her background at all. Did you notice that? He went straight to that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I did go straight to that.
Why would you even say that live on national television and with a female host?
I say it live on the radio all the time because it's true, and that's what I do. Because I like boobs and the First Amendment, which is exactly what I said.
Now, this Keith Reed clown, the black dude, after he got done white knighting and pretending that he respects women, people went through his Twitter account and found all of these old tweets. And to be fair, we did find out why he was offended. Because Keith Reed is an ass man. because we found all these tweets of all these big booty chicks, and he's like, yo, let me get up in that booty, because he's a booty guy. And he deleted all that shit. He was so embarrassed that people found all of these tweets. It was so funny, dude, because those that preach the loudest have the most to hide every single time. Any grown-ass man that's going to sit there and pretend to be offended by what Clay Travis said, stop. Stop it. You're not offended. You're not offended at all. The only way you get a pass on that is if you are a very religious person, which I 100% respect. All right, but that's the only justification. If you're a religious person and you're like, I don't like making these comments, like, hey, I respect that. I 100% respect that. But you're not going to be offended. Oh my God, I can't believe we're disrespecting women like that. What up, Jay? There's Jay. What's up, Jay? Or says Beardo likes corn the long way. Elite Neo says nice yams. Just found my new pickup line of choice. Nice yams, bitch. It's so damn good. All right, so we're gonna end it there. Thank you guys so much. Again, we got WrestleMania tomorrow for Geeks and Gamers Locals. I'll be live. I'll be live Saturday and Sunday. I'm hosting the streams because Beardo is out of town, so I'll be hosting those over on Locals. If you want to become a member, you can hang out with us. I know Krista's going to be there. I know we're going to have several members of the G&G team. I think Jay's going to make an appearance. Ryan said he may pop in there too for one of the streams. So it's going to be fun, and we're just going to be hanging out, chilling, BSing, watching some wrestling, and hopefully President Trump shows up. However, I highly doubt that. I don't expect President Trump to show up, but it could be, dude. It could be a huge one. Hey, look at there. What we got? Love the show, new fan. Hey, let's go, man. Welcome to the Snake Pit, brother. Good to have you here, man. I'm happy you enjoy it. There's a lot of lore with the memes and the chat and all of that, so just kind of, just kind of jump right in. Dave Arrowway says, praying for Jeremy's family. Thank you. I really appreciate that greatly. But thank you guys. Awesome show tonight. Hail to, let's see, there's the Locals link right there. If you guys are interested, go support us over there. And again, supporting us over there, whether you support us there, here, or everywhere, all the money we have that we make, I'm putting it back into the business. We're trying to build up different elements of G&G. We have so many moving parts around here, so it all helps, and it's greatly appreciated. So I know that like people like to dismiss the super chat money, like, oh, these guys just give him money. It's like, no, you're helping move us forward. You're helping move us forward. And so you're investing in the long-term future of Geeks and Gamers when you support us. Somebody said, what's Locals? Locals is essentially a Patreon alternative that is far more free speech friendly. And we have our own little community over there. It's terribly named. Locals is a horrific name. It sounds like a dating site. It's a terrible name, but it's essentially a Patreon alternative. Rumble owns the platform. So I think you can sign up through your Rumble account if you want to do it that way. James Bash says Kamala lost money. Tim Walz is weird. F the Democrats, and we'll see you later, D-Day Cobra. Thank you. I will have a video up on Geeks and Gamers a little bit later tonight. You guys have a great evening. Have a great weekend. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with a lot of you tomorrow and Sunday over on Locals. Bye, everyone.
God, not by the church, as my power is divided.